proclaims October 2016 as Arizona Pastor Appreciation Month.
For the record, my name is Tori Anderson. I'm here on behalf of the Secular Coalition for Arizona. For those of you not familiar with the Secular Coalition for Arizona, we advocate on behalf of all individuals in this state, theists and non-theists alike, who believe that public policy free of religious preference is the best way to ensure freedom for all Arizonans. Today I'm here asking you to vote no on this HCR. The term pastor refers to Christian and primarily Protestant Christian leaders. So this in and of itself is a sectarian establishment of religion, contrary to the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and Arizona's Constitution. The First Amendment's Establishment Clause prohibits the government from making any law respecting an establishment of religion. And while we are aware that a resolution is not a law, it is the only resolution of its kind that I've seen come this way. It singles out one religious preference over others. In fact, there is no particular need for this type of resolution, and it feels highly unnecessary and the reach of government into a place where government has no business being. In Arizona, the Pew Religious Landscape Study found in 2014 that 67% of your population is Christian. Non-Christian faith, 6%, that would be Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, and some others. Unaffiliated is 27%. So in essence, you are taking one group, which is the majority, 67% of your population, and giving them special privilege over the rest of the population. There is no reason for this HCR, and so I ask you to vote no on it today. And I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you. I'm looking at Amendment 1 of the U.S. Constitution. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. In this bill, number one, we're far from Congress. So Congress certainly isn't doing this. But even if we were kind of lumped into Congress as legislators, I don't see anything in this bill where we're establishing a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, as I said earlier, we do acknowledge this is not a law. We are aware of that. However, it is still the state of Arizona taking a one religion over all of the others and basically promoting it. And this is not a place where government needs to be. This is not something that needs to happen.
Because I would ask you to honor the people in this state who do want this bill to recognize that particular group of people by telling us we ought not to is just as oppressive as what you think that we're doing, which we're not, but you're oppressing reverse.
But what I would just like to mention is that, again, 67% of the population in this state is Christian and 27% unaffiliated. And so to use the term oppression, basically what I'm doing is speaking up on behalf of all Arizonans. So I thank you for your comments.
I just want to, I guess, voice my opinion that I think this is really a general day for whether you're a Christian, an atheism, a Catholic, you know, any body, anything that has a congregation or a gathering of people to it.
Goodness, the same amendment we were talking about a moment ago, First Amendment of the Constitution, also talks about freedom of speech, and yet we have, for example, if somebody valedictorian, that is going before their high school wants to praise God, and that speech is now starting to be limited. That it's somehow offensive. Thank you.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, if I may respond.
We're running really short on time.
Okay.
If you don't mind, any other?
Mr. Chairman, just a quick.
Please.
quick
Please, Mr.
comment here.
Lopez.
You mentioned that 67% were Christians in the state, and certainly I think the majority also has a right to have their views heard, and if they want to have a pastor's week, it certainly is their right to bring that forth to the legislature and have that voted on. And, you know, I look at the agenda today, we've got Arizona Pastor Appreciation Month, Chicano History Week, Arizona Silver-Haired Legislature, Juneteenth Day, and Tartan Day. So I'm sure if you brought a resolution, the chairman would be more than happy to hear it.
There are several others registered for or against the bill. I ask that they be noted for the record.
Members, the motion before you is that HCR 2033 receive a due pass recommendation. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Chairman, well, I appreciate the thoughts of the Secular Coalition. I see this bill or resolution a little differently, and I vote aye.
Very good.
With that, I vote aye.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to explain my vote.
Please.
Mr. Chair, I just want to make it clear, this bill does not condone or promote any particular religion. Talks about pastors in general, which is really nothing more than a leader, a religious leader, and I would argue that atheism is a religion. And Mr. Chair, I just want to quote the Venerable Benjamin Franklin. You know, we have a tradition of religious tolerance in this nation that is really the bedrock of our founding. And here's what he said: "Before I sit down, Mr. President, I will suggest another matter, and I'm really surprised that it has not been proposed by some other member at an earlier period of our deliberations. I will suggest, Mr. President, that propriety of nominating and appointing before we separate a chaplain to this convention, whose duty it shall be to uniformly to assemble with us and introduce the business of each day by an address to the Creator of the universe, the Governor of all nations, beseeching him to preside in our council, enlighten our minds with a portion of heavenly wisdom, influence our hearts with a love of truth and justice, and crown our labors with complete and abundant success." And with that, I vote aye.
Members, with your vote of 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 present, and 1 absent, you've given HCR 2033 a due pass.